The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah! Go Cowboys!
This is Cowboys StoryLine with Nick Eatman.
And welcome to Cowboys StoryLine. I'm Nick Eatman here. Tuesday, January the 9th. Playoffs. That's it. That's all you got to say. It's playoffs. That's it. This is what we've been waiting for. What happens in the playoffs? Yeah, good season, Cowboys. 12-5, okay. But what do they do in the playoffs? Well, here we are. Now it's time to get after it, if you will. Cowboys taking on the Green Bay Packers. Ice Bowl doesn't matter. None of those 90s games matter. Dez catch doesn't matter. The Aaron Rodgers throw on the sideline doesn't matter. None of that matters. It's cool to talk about, and we'll probably have some stuff on the website and all that historical stuff. But, you know, I thought what Mike McCarthy said yesterday was very telling. And, you know, this is what I like about Mike. I really do. He's just a real dude. He's just a real person. And when he makes mistakes, he admits it. I like that. I like that he said, I regret what I did last year. Last year, they went up to Green Bay in the middle of the season and lost that game. But he, you know, I think he said something in front of the team. He was honest. He was honest then. This matters to me. I'm not going to lie and say that it doesn't. I'm human. It matters. I want to go up there and beat Green Bay. I spent my whole, head coach career here. My family lived here. The kids grew up here. I want to win this game. And it was close. They should have won. They didn't. They lost at the end, and it was tough. But he said, I regret that. I shouldn't have put that on the players. It doesn't matter about the player. This is a player's game. They don't need that. They need to go win the game. So this week he's like, none of that matters. Who cares who they're playing? Let's just go win the game. He said he regretted that decision, and he's putting focus on that because none of that helps them win. So it's cool to talk about and all that, and there's people that have already seen it on Twitter, seen it. Man, I'm worried about the Packers, what they've done. Okay, that guy isn't here, and that guy's the reason why the Cowboys have lost so many games. But he's not here. He's in New York. And even if he was, who knows what would happen. It's a different team, different year. So going to get that out there and say it. All right. 888-855-2297 is the number to call. The text line is 817-290-3298. You can do both. We got calls and texts already ready to go. So let's get started. Josh is in San Francisco. What's up, Josh? We'll see you in a few weeks. I'm kidding. Maybe.
I hope so.
Maybe.
It's the scary thing is I expect to win these next two playoff games.
Scary.
To get to that game. But I don't expect to win that championship game, or I wouldn't expect to win the Super Bowl. I don't know if that makes sense. But
well, what it's saying is you think the Cowboys are like the fourth or fifth best team or third or fourth best team in the league, which is where the power rankings have the Cowboys, if that matters at all. But they're about that. So if you're the third or fourth best team, then you probably should go to the NFC Championship game and not expected to win. I mean, that's the way it is. That's why they have rankings. That doesn't mean they always hold true, but that's the way they are.
One thing I wanted to say, last time I called in during the San Francisco week or after the game. Mm-hmm. And I talked about the physicalness of the team and how they had to bring it, because I was, seeing the way San Francisco, their style of play. But now I'm kind of changing my tone here. I just feel like you are who you are now. We're in the playoffs, and I don't feel like we should try to match that physicalness. You need to bring some physicalness to that game, but don't outwit yourself, I guess, is what I'm trying to get at, And if we get to that game, which I hope we do, because it would be a great game to watch. I feel like we could get them. We're usually better the second time around. With whether it's the adjustments or the coaching, testament to the coaching and all that. But anyhow, one thing that I wanted to ask, I actually got two different questions, but right. Your opening here was on McCarthy. And I was thinking last week, McCarthy said he found out about Zach Martin, right before the game?
Yep.
So I'm thinking maybe that was a good thing, because sometimes I feel like McCarthy, he gets in his own way sometimes, or he just tries to do too much or outthink himself or something like that, and it shows in the flow of the game sometimes of his play calling and offensively. And I just felt like, well, maybe that was a good thing that he didn't have time to do anything because we just went out there with what we had planned to begin with. I mean, that's how it looked.
Okay.
I could be wrong, but
all right. What else you got?
So one thing I just want to throw out there, and don't just throw it away here. Just think about it. Is because on the defensive side, I feel like we need to really shore up the running game. I think we've done a better job of it, but we haven't really played those teams yet. And what I wanted to get at was, what do you think about moving maybe Sam Williams and putting him in some kind of package where he is an off-the-ball linebacker and just kind of playing around with the package like that? I feel like he has the speed. I think he's kind of a missile out there. He could go sideline to sideline, and his physicalness there that we could use in certain situations. So anyhow, I just wanted to throw out. Thanks for the call.
Thank you, Josh. All right. The Zach Martin thing, I mean, that doesn't make sense to me, honestly. He was sick. They figured it out. I mean, you play the backup. I mean, that's all. I mean, I don't understand if you think that McCarthy's going to make, what kind of changes is he going to make? I mean, you play the guys that are available. And so you play TJ Bass, and then, okay, he's playing for Tyler. And then, Zach's out. Well, now you play Hoffman. He's playing for him. So whether or not they have 24 hours, 48 hours, a whole week, that's kind of what you would do. Lyle Collins wasn't ready to play. He just got here. He wasn't ready to play in the system and all that. So they took him on the trip, but he wasn't ready for that. So I don't know what other options there were. And I don't know if I agree with that, honestly. I think McCarthy, they do a good job with the next man up mentality. So, and then as for Sam Williams, we've been asked that before here. And, I think if you're doing that, I think that's an off-season move. I don't think it's a move right now. I think that, Sam Williams is they figured out different ways for him. They put him on special teams. But at his point in his career and from a development standpoint, there's a lot more to it to play linebacker. You need to be aware of a lot of positions other than just kind of staying on the edge, rushing the passer and all that. I don't think he's ready for that. And so he could probably do it. I just don't think this is the time to move him there and to make that kind of move. And then it's something to do in the offseason, and he's probably not going to want that. I mean, that's not really his call, but we've seen that before with players, where is he a linebacker? Is he a rusher? And sometimes when that happens, it's not good. And the guy that I can think of is Kyle Wilbur, who's a player like that, where, what is he? And sometimes position flex is a good thing. Sometimes it can be a bad thing because you never really know how to, put yourself in the off season and conditioning wise and your weight and all that kind of stuff. So I don't think it's a great idea right now. Keep Sam Williams doing what he's doing. He can. He's an athletic player. He can play, but he's got to work on penalties. I mean, he has way too many penalties for a guy that doesn't play a whole lot. So there's a lot more to it there than that. All right, let's go to Irene in Virginia. Next caller.
Hey, Nick. Good morning.
Hi. How are you doing?
Hey, doing well. Okay, I'm going to start with my questions first. So the one thing or two things that concern me with Green Bay are quarterbacks that can run a little bit,
yep,
and then the wide receivers. They have a ton of them. They have that speedster, Jaden Daniels, especially worries me. Helped me win my fantasy championship. But anyway, Green Bay doesn't seem to score, though, so it's a little confusing. They have all these weapons, and they seem to move the ball, but they don't score. So I haven't watched them enough to understand why that is, but I mean, that bodes well for us because I think we'll be able to score pretty well on them. Question for you. Was that a travel home game? Because can we even call that a road game? What was the split in there? It was loud.
Well, you were there, right?
I was there. And those false starts, the two in a row, after the first one, I yelled to the people next to me. I was like, we caused that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then it happened again.
Yeah.
That's crazy in their own place,
Yeah.
But it seems like more than even usual. We always do well, but that was a lot.
Yeah, it did seem it's always a lot, but it did seem like it was more in the 60-40, 70-30, especially by the end of the game. But it did seem like it was a lot more Cowboy fans, which you even said yourself, right, when you called last week that you weren't really going to go, but then when the game mattered, it's like, wow, let's get there. So I think a lot of fans probably did that, and Washington fans, it doesn't matter. So.
Yeah, I was watching for the time it was going to come, and then also the weather, but then I did it anyway. So the weather turned out great, though. I have to tell, I know you both saw it on Twitter, but I have to say it was crazy to me. I'm sitting there, so I actually went, I got a single ticket because I tailgated with my club, the Northern Virginia Dallas Cowboys, but they got their tickets early, and I needed to just not be in that section. They didn't have any more. They were really expensive. So anyway, I went to, had a single ticket, so I'm surrounded by people. We're having a good time. And at the end of the game, somebody points you out. I'm like, that's Nick Eatman. And I'm like, what? And he's like, oh, he's a writer for the team. I'm like, no, I know. I call his show. And he's like, I do too. Jason in Delaware, shout out, man.
Nice.
To the StoryLine family, that was awesome. We didn't intend to sit next to each other. It just kind of worked out.
We're growing.
That was cool.
I love it.
It was awesome, man. But that's it. But yeah, the question on the wide receivers and running quarterback. Thank you.
Got it. Thanks. Good call, Irene. Appreciate that. And we were able to see some people from there, and there was a couple times, during the pregame where. There were people that were like, hey, calling the show, StoryLine, all that stuff. So that's really cool. And, we love that this thing's kind of growing and you guys are becoming your own little family. I love it. Jordan Love, he certainly can run the ball. And that's, you're right about that. That's a good point that, running quarterbacks, they're always a problem. They're a problem for everybody, really, because you try to get everybody, covered up and tight ends, receivers going deep and all that stuff, and it's 3rd and 9, and you've got it all done, and then he can break free and get 15 yards and slide and get out of bounds and move the sticks, and that's what makes him who he is. I mean, that's why these guys are drafted where they are, because, yes, they can throw it, yes, they're smart, and they also can run the ball, and they're mobile in the pocket, so he's going to be a problem. Now, you said they don't score a lot of touchdowns. I mean, he threw like 30, right? 30, 31. I mean, he's like in the top 4 or 5. Jordan Love did in this year. So he's passed some touchdowns around. At this point, you can look at it and say, man, 9 and 8, how good are they? But, you can also look at it and say, okay, that's 3 games different than the Cowboys. And you look at their division and look at the Cowboys division. I mean, Cowboys had 4 games against the Giants and Commanders, and 2 obviously against the Eagles, and they're playing 2 against the Lions, 2 against the Vikings, 2 against the Bears. A little different, and I'm not sure exactly who they matched up with on the AFC. I feel like maybe it was the Ravens division, but I have it here. But either way, I mean, it's 3 games. It seems like a lot, but at the same time, their schedule. I know they actually played. They played the Chiefs, so they were in that division. So and that's about the same, I guess, as the Cowboys. But either way, they're here. They're a playoff team. They're going to be bringing it. They got speed. They got receivers. Cowboys. Yeah, I think Gilmore's injury, which looks like he's going to be able to play, but that was kind of scary. And I remember thinking out in the press box, like, you don't want to be matched up with the Rams. You don't want to be matched up with Seattle. Now, Green Bay, they obviously have NFL receivers as well, but I was thinking, that was going to be a problem if he was hurt, but it looks like he is going to be able to play. All right, Justin in Lubbock's next caller.
Good morning, sir. How are you today?
Good. How are you?
Doing great, man. One question I had was with Tyler Smith's injury. I mean, I know it's different. NFL players are different animals, but me having that injury before, it's pretty painful. With Green Bay allowing, I think I saw that they're allowing 120 yards on the ground right now.
Uh-huh.
Would you let Tyler sit one more week and put in TJ Bass after what we've seen from him?
Is Tyler Smith ready? I mean, that's the question. If he's ready, then he plays. If he's not ready, he doesn't play. Because I mean, I don't. There is no. Let's hold him. If he's ready to go, he's got to play. Yeah, and this is it. Well, what's one more week? I mean, it could be one more. It could be one more month. I mean, what? It could be. This could be it. I mean, it's not a mind game type thing. It's, are you ready to play? Are you better than TJ Bass right now? You know, I mean, he's going to be better if he's out there, and healthy. But if he's not better than TJ Bass, then I mean, you just play the guy that gives you the best chance to win. I mean, it really isn't that complicated. So, I mean, I know exactly what you're saying. You're like, hey, you can rest him one more week, but what does this week look like right here against the Packers? So, and I think he's going to be the best option at guard. Tyler, I think he is. But, man, it sure was good to see Bass and Hoffman there, because next year we're going to be talking in training camp about depth and O-line and all that. Or not even training camp. How about in the offseason when things start to change and all that? I know it's going to happen. What do we do with Tyron? Do you move Tyler to left tackle? Can Bass play in? Is that your best five? All those kind of things, because you were able to see TJ Bass and Hoffman when they've got opportunities to play, and they both have done a good job. So I think that's encouraging. But as far as best guy, I'm playing the best guy, and I think it's going to be Tyler.
Yes, sir. And then real quick, last question. I know you've been with the Cowboys for quite a while. What's your confidence level for you to finally see an NFC Championship game this year?
All right, Justin, thanks for the call. It's a good question. It really is, because it's conflicting. I mean, when you've never seen something, you don't expect to see it. I've never seen it. I think this is the best. I don't know about the best opportunity to get there, because I mean, when you're in the number one seed and you've got one home game to go to get to the championship game, you think that's the best option. This is 2 home games to get there. But I think I'll say this though. None of those other years, I believe, none of those other seasons that the Cowboys were, the number one seed or in the division or divisional round, they were never undefeated at home like they are this year, and they play different at home, and this team is better. This team is really, really good right now. I mean, they can score some points. They think about why they're so good at home is they pass the ball around well. I mean, the chemistry between Dak and CD is outstanding. They got a kicker that can make kicks from 50, 60 yards, and he's pretty, they kick it off in the end zone. I mean, like, boom, like you're never playing short fields or anything like that. Like, the weird, quirky things that can hurt a team. Like it sort of looked like it was going to happen in Washington. So my point is that I don't have a ton of confidence just because I've never actually been there. So when I think about being in there, like it's never happened. But when you just put me in the moment of like Cowboys versus Packers at home, I think they're going to win the game. And then they get to the next round, I think they'll win that game. So I'm not trying to talk out of both sides of my mouth. What I'm saying is in the moment, I think the Cowboys will win. So maybe I am thinking that they're going to get there, but to just say it blindly like, oh, you're going to get there, it's hard for me to say. And I'm a little superstitious too, so let's just shut up. Don't ask me that question. Don't ask me that question because I don't know. I don't have the good answer to it. It's tough, and you guys are the same way. You guys are feeling it too. You don't want to get your hopes up because you've been burned before, but this team is getting your hopes up. So that's the balance there. All right. Question from Ian, the mailman from Illinois, says, "Are you still concerned about red zone efficiency? Had to settle for multiple field goals against the depleted Commanders team." He says he listens while delivering in the central Illinois snowstorm. Be careful, Ian. I don't know if I see it that way. They had one red zone chance, and they played it a little safe, and then they kicked it and they got blocked. They played that one safe after the fumble, and it got blocked and returned and all that. And then that was one field goal attempt And he missed another one. I guess that was red zone. I don't remember exactly how far that one was. And then, of course, it makes a 50-yarder. But they actually were pretty good in the red zone. When you think about throwing the ball in, they ran it in with Pollard, threw one into Tolbert, threw one into Cooks, threw one into CD, threw two into CD, actually. Pretty strong in the red zone, honestly. So, no. But, red zone's always going to be an issue. I think they've done a lot better this year. Brian in Kansas City is now our next caller. Brian.
Yes, sir.
How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good. Let's roll. What do you got?
Well, we got I work as a substitute teacher. We got a snow day up here, so I guess I'm in the same snowstorm your texter was
Illinois.
in.
Yeah, and I don't know if that's the storm that's coming, but there is going to be something coming here.
Roger that. Well, hey, glad we play in a dome then.
Yeah.
You get a freak snowstorm. We don't want that messing up the game, right?
No.
Hey, so, I was thinking about this this past week. I did think that they played a great game. I had a little bit of special teams PTSD, no question, with the bad blocking and then the doink, and I was really glad they let him kick that one last time. Please give me something to hold on to.
And he did that on purpose. I mean, McCarthy was like he wanted it too. He wanted to see it as well. So that was he actually purposely wanted to kick that so they all could have a better feeling about it. So worked out.
Yeah, no question. Hey, so I got one question for you and an old timer. My question is do you know that you work there? Do you know what the plan is, assuming he's ready, for La'el Collins? What position is he expected to be the backup to? And then my old timer is, because you guys were talking about, you and Irene were talking about people that were, and you brought up people that were tweeners before, Tyrone Crawford, because sometimes he was a 3, sometimes he was a 5. He was kind of that tweener guy all his career, and I'll hang up and listen. Hey, have a great day, man.
All right. Thank you for the call. And, Tyrone Crawford was the next guy I was thinking of there. I was kind of trying to move along. But, Tyrone Crawford's the same boat. Shout out to Tyrone Crawford. I just saw on social media he has a new baby girl. That makes 4 little girls for him in the house. So good luck with that, Tyrone Crawford. I saw him not too long ago. He's doing good. He was a good player. I mean, he really was. Because he was a guy. He was one of those. I mean, I wouldn't say the same level as Tank, but one of those where you don't always appreciate kind of what those guys do. And it's hard to get stats when you're playing in there. And he was in those where they were in 3-4 and 4-3 and all that. But no, he was a good hard-nosed player, good guy too. All right. What was the question there? La'el. I think, every time I've asked the question, I've asked it a couple times, and it's just kind of like, is it guard or is it tackle? And it's like, yeah. So he's here to be a backup lineman and maybe learn both spots in this system and kind of be, he could be a game day elevation guy. He's still in the practice squad. I mean, could be a situation where they just elevate him every time, he could be all, if they have 3 games, I mean, just elevate him and make him a game day backup guy that, if something happens in the game, he's probably good enough to play a little bit of both. I mean, kind of like Jason Peters was last year, who played a little bit of everything. So I don't know if it's a definitive answer. I think it's get a guy in here that knows the team, knows a lot of the players, knows the way they do things. And he seems a little different. He's a little bit different this time around. He's more mature, La'el is, and he's been around a little bit. And I'm not sure if humbled's the right word. He's just different and a little bit more businesslike. I kind of walked past him on the plane yesterday, Sunday night. 2 days ago. A lot of players having a good time. They're just getting on the plane. Got the hats and everything, and a little bit more stoic, and of course, he's not going to be carrying on and stuff, you know what I mean? Because these guys won the championship. He just kind of got here. So he just kind of handled it the right way. But even when I talked to him, it just seemed like he's kind of taken a different approach, more businesslike, and he's had a really good workout, and I think he's doing a good job, early in the practices. So I think it's a good thing to have. We'll see what it means for the future. All right, Doc in Allentown, Pennsylvania, our next caller.
Hey, Nick, I just want to give you accolades. It was 124 redials before I could get through. So
Nice.
You're a really popular program.
Well, good job. Good job for consistency and, being persistent.
Yeah, no, you're a great show. I watch and or listen to you every day. Just wanted to give you that accolade there.
Thank you.
But I know you're a historian, so I wanted to give you some background. My first Cowboy game that I remember, I was just a little boy, was the Green Bay Packers against the Dallas Cowboys for the NFL Championship. It was the year of the first Super Bowl, and they didn't even call it the Super Bowl then. Because it was whoever won the NFL, that was
the champion. Yeah.
But and it was Don Meredith threw that interception on fourth down, broke my heart, and we had first and goal. I remember.
Mm-hmm.
And he threw the interception. The next year was the Ice Bowl year.
Yeah, people forget that first one.
And then there were two Cleveland. We lost to Cleveland in the first round. But the story I want to tell you is it's my recurring nightmare coming from my childhood. It was in Super Bowl V. It was Sports Illustrated called it the Blunder Bowl. It was Dallas Cowboys against the then Baltimore Colts, who had just gone over from the NFL because the NFL sent Cleveland, Baltimore, and Pittsburgh over to the AFL. Those were old NFL teams. And I remember at the end of the game, Craig Morton rolling to his right, throws it across the middle, high pass, but off Dan Reeves' hands. Mike Curtis intercepts it, and the worst kicker in the league, a guy named Jim O'Brien, kicks a field goal to beat us. Broke my heart. And I still have. I had that nightmare again last night. That's one reason I thought to call in.
Wow.
But on another note, obscure Cowboys. Here's one for you. Who was a Hall of Famer for what he did with the San Diego Chargers, not for the Cowboys. But Lance Allworth had a couple of good years with us. I remember Silky Smooth and with Roger Staubach and him was a great memory.
Yeah. Arkansas Razorback. Yep.
Yeah.
That's right.
But, here's my question for you. Everybody seems to be looking past the Green Bay Packers, and I take these one at a time. I'm not looking to San Francisco or who we play the second round. You got to win the first round, and these are a good team, and so I don't think you can look past them. I think McCarthy's done a great job, and so just your thoughts on. Yeah. You got to take this game seriously.
Sure.
You don't get another game.
That's right. I don't think the Cowboys will be looking past them. Thanks for the call, Doc. I don't think they will. It's easy to kind of ask the question where they are here, and I got asked about championship game and 49ers, and I kind of started it when I said that I'll see in a few weeks. I was joking, I guess. No one's really looking past this one. You'd be ridiculous to do that. I think that this is it. I mean, this is what you play for, and the Packers are playing well right now. They're here, for a reason. They've gotten themselves in position. They're going to come in with a lot of confidence. They're going to have a lot of fans in the stands. So expect that. I mean, that's what's going to happen here. But I don't think the Cowboys will be overlooking this one at all. All right, let's go to Tony. He's in Alexandria, Virginia.
Nick, am I on?
You are on. What's up, Tony?
Hey, how you doing, sir?
Good. What's up?
Man, it's Tuesday and I'm already nervous.
I'm with you, man. I kind of wish this was a Saturday game.
I know. It's just because this is it. I mean, there's no tomorrow. There's no, if we so happen to lose the game, there's no next week or whatever. Mm-hmm. Basically, it's the off season. So my thing is, I'm just hoping and praying.
Hoping and praying
about something, because when Zach, I wasn't paying attention or watching the game live. The first part of the game, I had to catch up with it, and I was kind of following along with my phone. And when I found out Zach, I was like, "You got to be kidding me! What? Zach Martin is out? How? Why? What?"
Yeah.
You know. And so, anyways, you're just hoping nothing fluky happens. During the course of the week. Remember a couple years ago when DeMarcus Lawrence broke his foot in practice, and then this year with with Tyron Diggs going down with the Achilles. So you're hoping we just make it through, practice and everything okay. But I really don't have any questions, because you kind of answered them during the first part of today's show. And like I said, it's just a matter of, trying to make it through the week and get into the game and calming the nerves until the game actually starts. So.
Yeah. Well, I'm with you there. I mean, I said that, like, man, I wish the game was on Saturday, and then I'm like, oh, sorry. I feel bad for saying that with, like, Gilmore and, Tyler Smith. Like, no, let's give them a full week to recover. You know what I mean? They need it. We'll be fine. We'll be fine here this week. It's one of those things that, we've been talking about it for a long time. I mean, they've been in the playoffs now for 4 weeks now, and really for about half the season, you knew they were going to be a playoff team.
Right,
so it's kind of like everything that happened. Now, where's the seeding? They matter for the seeding and all that stuff, and the Cowboys really never overlooked anyone or anything, so give them credit for that. But, it's easy for the fans to try to pole vault themselves into the playoffs, like, let's go. So now we're here. Now we're here, and really, like the last caller said, there's no reason to move past it.
Right, and one also, if one season has taught you anything about this season, how things can change so much. Because several weeks ago, everybody's like, "Well, we're going to be locked in the fifth seed. We're going to be locked in the fifth seed." And all of a sudden, it just boom, it changed. And all of a sudden, Philly loses several games, and then we're in the second seed. It's like, wow, how all that changed in just a flip. So when we go into the playoffs, anything can happen. What if Brock Purdy comes out and has a bad game? It could happen. They get bounced out, and then we're the first seed because we're in the number 2 slot. So anything can happen. Let's cross our fingers and pray that we make it through and go Cowboys.
All right, good stuff there. Thanks, Tony. Seems like he's got the opinion, attitude, mindset of a lot of fans right now. It's not nervous. Well, some people might be. I think it's just anxious. I think that's the word. Everyone's just kind of anxious about the game because we've been here before. We've seen it. But, I say it all the time. Enjoy the ride. Like this whole season's a roller coaster. Enjoy the ride. This seems like the part in the ride, where you're kind of starting to creep up. There's a big, there's like this big loop coming, and it's that slow, like, kind of the rackety sound of like, getting up there, and it's slow, and it's about to happen. You don't know when. Boom. This is that part where you're kind of creeping up there, and you're like, you're kind of like, all right, this has been fun, but like, what's next? And this is where we are, right here in the roller coaster ride, where it's about to hit. It's just taking forever to get there. That's my analogy for the day. All right. 7th caller, Tom Collins in South Padre Island. Your name is Tom Collins, and you're in South Padre.
Yes. I just want to call and comment. I've been a Cowboy fan since 1961 when my dad brought our first TV home.
Okay.
I love the Cowboys. Like any other Cowboy fan, I've seen the ups and downs. But the parallel I'm seeing this year to the 1993 Cowboys Super Bowl team was that we played Green Bay in the playoffs first and then went on to beat Buffalo. And I'm just hoping and praying that we'll see the same thing again this time around. The correlation of how this comes about is just amazing. We had a less than stellar, great but not outstanding game last year when we got knocked out once again by San Francisco. And I remember us going to San Francisco and playing there when we were not expected to win. But then Aikman hit Harper on a long pass, and here we go.
Here we go.
So I'm hoping to see the same thing again, but I appreciate your show. I watch it all the time. And how do you think if we play at San Francisco, this will play out? Thank you very much. I appreciate you taking my call.
Thanks for the call, Tom. Here we go. Oh, yeah, first-time caller. Definitely. Tom Collins, definitely first-time caller from South Padre. Respectfully, I'm not going to say – let's don't do that. Let's don't go there with San Francisco. We'll have 5 shows leading up to that if that happens, if the Cowboys get there. And let's be honest, if they get there, they've got to win too. You know, they've got to get – so let's don't go there. And I'm not trying to sidestep that. It's just that this, you know, like a lot of the callers said, I mean, this is the focus. The Cowboys got to beat the Packers. They've got to do that. I think that they will. I think that they should. I think they're a better football team. But they were a better football team than the Cardinals back in Week 3. They're a better team. I still think they're a better team than Buffalo. I mean, I do. I know they played terrible in that game. We've seen it. So let's focus on what it is here. And you know, I think if that matchup happens, that'll be crazy. Now, one thing, you know, that you said though, you're kind of seeing it lined together, or maybe, you know, Buffalo, San Francisco, Green Bay, and all that. I believe that was the road in '93. That's 30 years ago. I mean, I think it was San Francisco. I mean, it was Green Bay in the divisional, San Francisco, you know, and then Buffalo. But maybe that happens again. But you know, it starts with Green Bay. You got to do that. You got to beat them. You got to show that you're here because you were dominant at home. You know, they took care of business at home. Give them credit for that. 8 straight wins at home. That put 8 right there, and then they've gone and they're 4 and 5 on the road. It's been a tough road for them, but you know they beat the teams they were supposed to beat pretty much on the road. And you know, I saw the other day where the top 8 teams in the league right now, like odds to win the Super Bowl, top 8. The Cowboys, of course, are in there. So the other 7 teams, you know, the Cowboys played 6 games against those 7 teams, 2 against Philly. But some of the other teams, I mean, they played 6. They did not play Baltimore, did not play Kansas City. 2 and 4 in those versus those 6. And, of course, the home and road, 2 home, 4 on the road. So they had some tough road games, of course. They played some good teams. Some of them they played well, some of them they didn't. But, you know, they took their good home team. They're a phenomenal home team. So you hope that carries on into the playoffs. All right, next caller is Dorn in Vancouver, Washington.
Good morning, Nick. How are you?
Good. How are you, Dorn?
Well, I'm only 2 miles from Oregon, so I can be your first Oregon caller.
Oh, you got to jump.
Not.
Yeah, you got to cross over and then call. Yeah.
Should have ran over the bridge.
Should have.
Hey, been listening since '06. This is my first time caller to this show.
There we go.
Thank you. I do have a trivia update or correction, and then a question.
Oh man!
So
trivia update.
A couple of people have called and said that they think your comment of "he's got an ass" has replied or is about Ronald Leary, and I think you may have said that about him, but I do think the first time you brought that up was when they signed 340-pound Montre Holland.
I don't know about that
because he's got an ass.
I don't know about that.
Somebody said it was research to go back and find for that.
Somebody said it was Xavier Suafilo.
Wow, I hadn't heard that one.
And
I thought it was Montre.
Montre's got other references, but not that one. I don't think.
Right.
I don't think that
Maybe
one.
I'm wrong on that.
Yeah. I have a funny Montre Holland story. I think that I need to tell when this call's done. Montre Holland. Yeah, I'll tell that.
Excellent.
Story. Okay.
So then my question is, so I've been hearing a lot of talk about the non-holding calls on Micah, 10, 11 games in a row now.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a place to find stats to see has that happened to the other top 10 pass rushers? Have any of them gone through 10, 11 games of not having calls? I mean, to say Micah's not getting them is one thing, but if nobody's getting him, then that doesn't really mean anything.
Maybe check out those other players' podcasts and see if they're talking about it and complaining about it.
Fair point.
I don't know. I really don't know. It's amazing though. He hadn't got a holding call. I mean, come on. Leads the league.
We all see it.
Well, he leads the league in pressures. I mean, he's getting there. It's not like he's not getting. He's getting there. He's got 14 sacks. He's got like 100-something pressures. You would think it, but go back to this last game. They didn't call a lot of anything really. They didn't call holding that much on either team. So I kind of like the way that game was officiated. It really wasn't that bad at all.
All right, thanks, Nick. Go Cowboys.
All right, thank you. Dorn reminds me of the movie Major League from the first one, of course, the only really good one in that series. Yeah, shut up, Dorn. But not you. Talking about the movie. Good call. And I really don't think we have an Oregon call. I think Oregon is the one we need now. So maybe Dorn's gonna make a little drive and go to the gas station there and make a call from Oregon. I guess that still counts. All right, good stuff there. What was the all right? Here we go. Okay, let's go to Pastor James. He's in Midland, Texas. Pastor James.
Hey, Nick, how's it going today, brother?
Good. How you doing?
Doing well. Hope all and everybody is well. I'm not one that really believes in curses, and it's been a couple of weeks since you and I have talked, but I do believe in divine intervention because, how back in the day they said that Texas Stadium had the hole in the top so that God could look down and watch his son coach football.
Yeah.
And, so throughout all that situation and stuff, I believe that now that Jimmy Johnson has been put into that ring of honor, I believe that it was divine intervention that everything has worked out the way that it has, because I've been telling guys at my job that are Cowboy fans, I said, man, I really believe that the Cardinals can beat the Eagles, and with the way the Giants played them in Philadelphia, I really believe that when they go to MetLife Stadium, that the Giants can put it on the Eagles. And lo and behold, everything came out exactly the way that I thought it would. Plus, I really don't look at it as a bad thing that our offensive line had a few, nicks and cuts in it this weekend, because it helped Bass and Hoffman be able to get some playing time at an opportunity where, Washington wasn't using really all of their main players. Now, true, they did have one of those big dogs up there, but I really feel like Hoffman and Bass came a long way, and I really like that dog that Hoffman has in him. I mean, I believe it'll help our offensive line to even be stronger, just in case something else may pop up, which we're hoping it won't. But, just in case, they have some, they got some good playing time throughout this whole game. And I really feel good about this Green Bay game, because it's time for the Cowboys to be able to get one back on Green Bay. And I believe that this is going to be the time and the opportunity. And hopefully I'll get the call back before the week is over and give a prediction on the score, brother. So y'all have a good rest of the show, and I'll hang up.
Right.
And we'll talk to you later, brother.
I like it. Thanks for the call, James. Pastor James in Midland, Texas. Good stuff. Yeah, it is time. I had said earlier on the last caller we had from Dorn, I talked about, he thinks that comment that I made it was about Montre Holland. I don't think that's the case, honestly. I don't think it was about Montre, but I was going to tell a story about Montre. I don't remember what I had done the feature on him or something like that, where I had contact him, and but then about 2 years later, I'm at Disney on Ice. Got my little daughter. She's about 6 years old. We're at the Disney on Ice, which is a figure skating thing, Disney theme, all that. And I spent like $200 with all kinds of, little cups and all kinds of stuff, and took a photo of my daughter, sent it to my mom, all that. She didn't respond for the whole day. I thought she would love that. Turns out I actually sent that picture to Montre Holland. I didn't do that right, and I was, user error, obviously messed up. Mom sent to Montre Holland So he never responded about that, but I can't imagine him just kind of. He was a kind of a cool guy, just chill, Probably just looked at us like, what the hell? So, anyways, it's a funny story to me, especially when I figured it out. I don't know if that was funny. All right, let's go. Uh-oh. That's what I love about this show. You call out a state, and they bring it. All right. So, sorry, Dorn, you don't have to go across the tracks anymore to Oregon. We got you. Morrow.
Yes, sir.
From Oregon. That's what I'm talking about. Morrow from Oregon.
Yes, sir.
Hey, first time caller.
First time caller.
Here
first
we go.
Time caller, long time listener.
I love it.
I just kind of was listening this morning. I'm here at work, kept going back and forward. I heard, hey, we need someone. Oh, man, I just called in. I know people keep calling in, and it takes a little bit to get in. Hey, man, second call I got in, so I appreciate it, guys.
2 calls. There you go. That's kind of how you have to do it. You have to listen. As soon as I say, all right, man, have a good day. See you later. That's what you got to think. I don't know.
Exactly. No, I just wanted to say, hey, appreciate the show. I've been listening to you quite a while. I've loved listening to you guys and Dave Hellman back in the day and Broadus. It's funny to say back in the day now, but
yeah.
And just real quick, I guess not necessarily my favorite player, but one that I'll call out is just Roy Williams. Watching him, the safety, watching him basically just lay people out, and the aggression that he played with, stuff like that. Just real quick, I fell in love with the Cowboys during the Buffalo Bills Super Bowl, the Thurman Thomas goal line stand.
Oh, that's one of my favorite plays of all time.
Yep.
When Ken Norton.
I was a little bit younger. Yep, Ken Norton. I was a little bit younger, saw that play, and that's when my eyes opened up. Like, what? You could do that? You could do that? That was the play.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite plays of all time, really, because it was one of those moments in the game where it's like, we're better than you. We're better.
Yep.
You're here. Yep. Good job for getting to the one, but you're just not strong enough. And if you look at that photo, there's a photo. His hand is actually up. It's Kenneth Davis is the running back. It's like inside the face mask, like right there, touching his face. And it's just, with his dad was being a boxer, Ken Norton. And I remember the call from Dick Enberg. He said, Ken Norton with the KO. That was an awesome moment, though. Yeah, that was a great telling play.
The cherry on top for that one was my aunt. She kind of like, the devil's advocate type personality. So she always went against whatever we were kind of going for. So she was going real heavy for Buffalo at the time.
Oh,
and my dad came out and dropped off a little bucket in front of her and said, here you go for your tears. And to me, at that age, I just thought it was the funniest thing. So you compound those things together, and that's where I fell in love with the sport, and let alone the Cowboys.
Awesome.
So originally, I'm from Texas. We moved up here quite a while ago. So
all right. Well,
my blood is from there.
Yeah. Y'all said, you know what? Screw this Texas summer heat. We're going to Oregon.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hey, we moved up here in '92, so I got spoiled with those years, and then I've been humbled ever since. So
there you go.
I'm excited for what's coming. I would call myself one of those more mellow, humble fans, but I'm excited to see what happens.
All right. Well, we appreciate it.
If I could just mention one more thing, we all get together every Cowboy game. We go to my mom's house. That's what we do up here in Oregon. Everybody knows us as the Cowboy fans up here. So
we'll do it, man. Y'all have a great time this weekend. Hopefully, there's a few more weekends of y'all getting together, watching the games. So
we're hoping for it. Appreciate your time.
Thanks for the call.
Appreciate what you do. Thank you guys so much.
All right, Morrow from Oregon. I think that's it. I think that's 50 states right there. We'll do a little more research, but boom, awesome. All right, one more caller, Darian in Houston. Last one.
It's time, Nick.
It's time.
It's time to do it, man.
It's time.
Man,
I love it.
It's been a minute. You're a busy guy. I just want to congratulate you on a successful season with your show.
Thank you.
Your show has been really cool this year. I kind of just have to call in and stuff.
I appreciate that. I love it. It's been a lot of fun. And I give a lot of credit to Chris in the back. I know I say that a lot, but he does a lot of these shows, but he works 10 times as hard on this just because of all the calls and the text messages and stuff like that. So I give him a lot of credit. We've had a lot of fun doing it together. So doing the show together.
I appreciate you guys getting us in there. It's funny. My wife would make fun of me every morning. I wasn't working. I would try to call in, and she didn't get it. She didn't understand it. But this is the ultimate celebratory tradition / coping mechanism I think we have as Cowboys fans. So that kind of got me thinking. quick question about you, and then just some comments about the game. I love you, just like a steel trap of knowledge and football trivia. But I'm wondering, does that ever get you in trouble at home with your wife? Like, oh, you could remember this, and this about the 89 season, but you can't remember what I asked you to get from the grocery store last week.
Yes, it does. And thanks for bringing it up. So, yeah, it'll probably get me in trouble again with her. Yeah.
Man, well,
no, I mean, she knows that, there's a lot of Cowboy history and knowledge. But, yeah, it does happen. I mean, just short-term memory is not as good, for sure.
Well, keep fighting the good fight. And I just wanted to say, dude, I think I saw some encouraging things from the running game this week.
Yep.
Throughout the season, I've seen a lot of like Tony Pollard doing scuttleback behind his lead blockers and then falling into a hole for 2 or 3 yards. But this week, I really saw him fall on his blocks and then boom, foot planted up the field. So he looked pretty decent, and then Rico looked quick. I'm glad he had some time to rest up from whatever injuries he had going on. But it's time, dude. It's time to stand on business this week and really let them know who we are. I'm kind of with Irene, who called in earlier about being a little worried about Jordan Love. He's quick, he can run, he's thrown 32 touchdowns this season. They're clicking. But I mean, this is his first playoff game. Make it look like it.
There you go.
You're the vet. Show up and show him what you got. And then just real quick, favorite football movie since I haven't called in a while is The Little Giants, and then another one called Facing the Giants. It's kind of a low-budget film. If you've never seen it, it's really cool. The worst football movies are The Silver Linings Playbook and Invincible for obvious reasons. And then favorite Cowboy of all time, Jason Witten, and random Cowboys player, Sam Hurd.
Okay.
Anyways, let's do this. Let's do it
right.
this week, man.
All right, man. Appreciate that.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know how random Sam Hurd is as a player, but anyways, good stuff. Good stuff. I love how he's I love how he says, for obvious reasons, I don't like Invincible because it's an Eagles movie, but he's all about little giants, who also they have to beat the Cowboys to win, but a little different, cute kids movie for sure. All right, good stuff. Thank you, Darian, for the call, and thank you for actually my headline for the. I always have to write the headline out for. That's it. That's going to be the headline. It's time. It's time. I know it's Tuesday, so it's really not time, but it is. So I'm going to go for it. It's time. Great stuff. Great calls as always. I got to get out of here. Cowboys break is coming in here in a few minutes, so stay on the stream for that so you can check them out. So for Chris Beam, I'm Nick Eatman. We will see you tomorrow. Cowboys Storyline. It's time.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys?